Beautiful little Alcaidesa Marina, which is the gateway to the Med, right on the border of Spain and Gibraltar. I can't even enter Gibraltar. Delighted to say John is now from the boat. Is Paul himself. PBT, good morning.
Morning, Paul.
Yeah, buenos dias, amigos. How are you?
We're good. 80 days, Paul. Well, you must be driving you mental. We're talking about Ali. We're talking about going for walks every day, and the weather's been good. But you're stuck in a boat, and I believe you weren't even allowed off the boat for many, many weeks.
Yeah, well, the first 60 days, we weren't even allowed off the boat. So my boat is 12 meters long, 4 meters wide. What's that, about 40 feet. And no exercise was allowed here in Spain. We were hit very hard with the virus, as most people know. And the government came in with some very hard measures, and fines were dished out. So, yeah, that was it, really, just stuck on the boat, walking around on the deck. And,
you weren't allowed to sail? You weren't allowed to leave port, or...?
No, the boat's not allowed. We're actually allowed now. We've had about the last 2 weeks. We can go out for a little sail if we want out in the... You painted the picture very nicely, the Bay of Gibraltar, just 12 miles from the coast of northern Africa. So, yeah, we can go out for a little sail here. We're not allowed to leave the province. This is the province of Cadiz.
Yeah.
So we're not allowed to move between different provinces at the moment. I think next week that's going to get lifted. But at the minute, for example... Where you own property in Marbella, we're not allowed to travel to that area. That's the province of Malaga. So we've got to stay in this region.
Paul, what did you do for provisions, food and water and things like that? I mean, I take it was dropped off to you.
Yeah, what we did is we contacted. We formed a little group in the marina. There's about 80 people in this marina, Alcaidesa Marina, and we formed a Facebook group, and we contacted local small businesses who were obviously suffering, and we managed to get everybody, the butcher and the baker, and I nearly said the candlestick maker, but...
you were in charge of the bevy.
Oh, yeah, and we got a booze guy as well. We got a wine merchant, and everybody delivered to our boats, which was amazing. So, yeah, so once a week we'd send an order in, and they'd come round, masked up and gloved up, and deliver to the boat. So... Yeah, so I haven't even been in the supermarket in 80 days, and it was 60 days, fellas, before the government said, okay, you can go out and do a bit of exercise now.
Wow. What about, Paul, tell me about the police, because the police were they were on the ball, weren't they? They were watching every move, weren't they?
They were, Al, yeah. They were driving around the town of La Línea and coming inside the marina here as well. And you'd see them every 30 minutes. And if they caught you walking around, no questions asked, it was a €300 fine. That was it.
Paul, I was going to say to you, mate, I think it's probably been the same in France. I've got a mate that lives in France, and he was telling me the exact same. I don't think we realised it over here in the UK. He said the police presence. He actually said there was army in the streets at some points in France, in areas of France, and he said they took it really, really strictly, and there was automatic fines. You had to had to permission. You had actually to have papers with you when you're out going for your groceries and things like that.
Yeah, and the other thing, Ali, they did here was if they caught you walking past, they'd ask you for ID, where are you? And if they caught you, because we didn't go to supermarkets because, as I mentioned, we got deliveries to our boats. But if they caught you going to a supermarket which was further away and there was one closer, you'd get a fine as well. You were only allowed. They'd even check the receipt to see what time you were in the supermarket and what goods you had bought.
Paul, what about, so a lot of people listening will be hoping to get to either Gibraltar or down to Estepona, places like that, where they may fly to Gib or fly to Malaga. What is the latest that you can tell us? Are we talking about next month? Everything should get maybe the green light?
Yeah. Do you know what, guys? The good news is in the last 2 days we've had no deaths in Spain through the coronavirus. Which has just been amazing. That people have really obeyed the lockdown, and it looks like, hopefully, and also it's been very, very warm. I don't know if that's anything to do with it, but we've had blistering weather here, so it looks like we're winning the battle. And I think in about another 10 days we'll be able to move between provinces here in Spain, which will mean national tourism can travel to the coasts.
So then you might be able to fly into Gibraltar, walk through customs, and then head to different parts of Spain.
Yeah, my understanding, listening to the Spanish news, is that they're hoping that within about 4 to 5 weeks from now, we might be able to receive visitors from abroad. So they did state they were concerned about the high numbers in the UK, and potentially that could affect British tourists arriving. But it does seem sometime in July, providing the numbers are okay, that British tourists, so if you want to go to Torremolinos, to Marbella and different places, fingers crossed, you will be able to come to Spain inside about a month.
Yeah. Now, Paul, it's probably a bit early for the papers today for you, although you are an hour ahead. Today, front page of yesterday's, paper, linking Real Madrid with a move for Sancho. Jadon Sancho. Do you think that could happen? Madrid at the moment, I think, 2 points behind Barcelona.
But they are, and I think we're very close now to restarting La Liga. It's a bit of a surreal feeling here because we've been without football for so long, and it's it's such a massive thing here in this country. So there are rumours, but nobody. It's almost like we switched off. It's almost like it's just been second best to this virus. And there are some people here, I know you're having the same debate in the UK. Some people are saying it's too early to come back. A lot of the players don't want to play. Are they fit enough, guys?
Well, we've got Champions League as well coming up, Paul, haven't we? Real Madrid, Man City for a start.
Well, I was saying, Paul, I reckon that's a big thing. And as we were talking about it, there's been an increase, somebody said to me, of about 30 to 35% of injuries in the Bundesliga. Not major injuries, but things that you would expect when you come back from a close season.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that with the extra subs as well, which is probably a great idea as we're rushing players back, having more subs on the bench you can use.
Definitely. I think that's a good idea. Clearly is. But I think Paul's spot on. I don't care what MD says. It's never going to be ideal, and we're going to have to take a little bit of medicine here to get our football back played. But from the players' point of view, it's not an ideal scenario, them having not enough, maybe a couple of weeks. Because they normally, as you know, Alan, they normally have 4, 5, 6 weeks, and they normally have 4 or 5 or 6 games before they get back into it. So it's not ideal.
Yeah. Well, Paul, listen, keep us in touch, mate. I've got a little break now. Keep us in touch, especially when Spanish football's about to return. Of course, when British holidaymakers can come back to the likes of Gibraltar or Malaga or other parts of Spain.
Hey, Ali, did you know that Brazil is a bit of a Captain Pugwash? Did you know he was hoisting the sail on this boat and sailing and navigating? He's a bit of a dark horse, you know.
Paul, listen, mate, I will desperately need video evidence of that before I can take that as read, mate. You'll need to send me proof of that, mate, because the jury's still out in that one.
No, well, let me tell you, Alistair, I did. I said to Paul, where do you want me to aim for? He said, there's a big oil tanker there, just to the left. Aim for that, right? So I aimed for that. We passed it. It was massive. That night, the SAF stormed it. The SAS stormed it. It was a raining oil tanker and confiscated all the goods.
By the way, I need to say to you, at the end of my career, I was turning like one of those oil tankers, by the way.
Paul, great to talk. Keep safe. Thank you.
Paul. Cheers, fellas. All the best. God
Paul
bless.
Breen-Turner down in La Linea there. By the way, it's a lovely little harbour. I've stayed in there. Alcaidesa Marina, it's called.
Beautiful.
Right next to the airport as the planes fly into Gibraltar. Right, Matt Lawton, the Times chief sports correspondent, joins us next, coming up 3 minutes to 7.